Last Thanksgiving, it ended my family forever. We were the family everyone envied. Nice cul-de-sac, 2 SUVs in the driveway. My parents, married 35 years, still held hands at dinner. Picture perfect, on paper and in person. But we had one strange ritual. After the turkey, after the pie, my dad would pull out this hideous silver goblet he'd owned since the 80s. The rules never changed. Everyone writes one brutal truth on a slip of paper. No name. Drop it in the goblet. Pass it around. Whoever pulls a slip has to read it out loud. And no one is allowed to get angry. It was supposed to be harmless. Cathartic even. A pressure valve before the holidays got heavy. Most years it was nothing. Aunt Sarah's casserole tastes like wet cardboard. I scratched the minivan and never told anyone. We'd laugh, argue for 2 minutes, refill our wine, move on. It was our thing. It felt safe. This year was supposed to be different, in the best way. I'd proposed to my girlfriend Chloe in September after 4 years together. She sat beside me at the table that night, ring on her finger, my mother's hand squeezing hers under the table like she'd already claimed her as a daughter. My brother Mark kept raising his glass, toasting how lucky I was. The wine was flowing, the fire was going, everything felt warm. Then Dad brought out the goblet. We went around like always. Mark's slip was about his fantasy football obsession. Mine got laughs about my ancient Xbox addiction. My mom's cashmere sweater made another appearance, shrunk in the wash by persons unknown. Then the goblet reached Chloe. She reached in and pulled out a slip of yellow notebook paper, folded into a tight, sharp square. She smiled, unfolded it, cleared her throat. Her voice was steady for exactly 1 sentence. Then it cracked. She stopped mid-word. Just stopped. "Keep going, sweetheart," my dad laughed, mouth full of pie, completely unaware. "Rules are rules. Nobody gets mad." Chloe looked up. All the color had left her face. She looked at me first, eyes wide with something close to panic. Then her gaze slid across the table and landed unmistakably on my father. "Read it," I said quietly. Something cold was already crawling up my spine. Her hands shook so hard the paper rattled. She took a breath and forced the words out. "I can't keep pretending anymore. The only reason I proposed is because Dad promised to pay off my $85,000 in student loans if I finally settled down with a nice girl." Silence. The kind that has weight. I could hear the fire crackling and nothing else. I didn't write that note. I love Chloe. I bought that ring on my own, working overtime for 8 months to afford it. There was no deal, no debt, no arrangement. I turned to my father, ready to demand an explanation. But he wasn't looking at me. He was staring at Mark, and Mark wasn't looking at anyone. He was staring straight down at his plate, jaw tight, face draining to a color I'd never seen on him before. That's when it hit me. The timeline. The money. Mark's sudden, extravagant wedding 3 years ago. The one where he married Jessica after only 8 months of dating, after years of insisting he'd never settle down. Jessica, sitting directly across from me, whose expression had just shattered into something between grief and rage. The note was never about me and Chloe. It was a confession that belonged to someone else. A slip written for the wrong moment, meant to expose Mark and Jessica's marriage, not mine. My father had paid his golden boy son to marry a woman he never actually loved, just to keep our family photo looking whole. Jessica stood so fast her chair slammed backward onto the hardwood. She said nothing, not one word. She slipped the wedding ring off her finger, dropped it into the bowl of mashed potatoes like it was garbage, and walked out the front door into the cold. Nobody went after her. We haven't had a Thanksgiving since. The goblet was supposed to clear the air in our house. Instead, it took the roof off.